Imagine this for a moment, a soft breeze rustling the leaves, the distant call of birds echoing through a peaceful forest, and in the heart of it all, a gentle creature lying still, breathing slowly, in harmony with everything around it. In our chaotic, fast-paced lives, few things bring more comfort than watching animals that seem to carry within them the very essence of calm. Today, I want to take you on a journey, not through cities or technologies, not even through history, but through the soul, soothing world of the most relaxing animals in the wild. There is something extraordinary about animals that appear completely at ease with themselves and their surroundings. No rush, no panic, no overthinking, just being. They remind us that life doesn't always have to be so loud and hurried. Sometimes the most profound peace comes from stillness. Let's begin with a creature whose very presence in the water feels like poetry, the sea otter. Have you ever seen a sea otter floating on its back, paws gently clasped as it drifts with the tide, sometimes with a pup resting on its chest? It's like watching serenity itself. These animals not only exude a sense of calm, but they also hold hands while sleeping so they don't drift apart. There's something heartbreakingly tender about that image. It's a small gesture, but in it lies a lesson about connection, about quiet affection and trust. In their fluid, graceful movements, sea otters seem to remind us to let go, to float, to breathe. And what about the sloth? Ah, the sloth. So slow, so deliberate, and so utterly unbothered by the chaos of the world. It spends most of its life hanging from trees, barely moving, its face always wearing a soft, sleepy smile. Some might call it lazy, but I think the sloth has discovered something we have not, the value of unhurried life. When we see a sloth move, almost in slow motion, there's a quiet magic to it. No anxiety. No racing thoughts, just a complete surrender to the moment. Isn't that what we all long for? Time to just be, without expectations, without deadlines. The sloth doesn't live to impress. It lives to exist. And somehow, in its stillness, it teaches us the rhythm of calm. Let's venture now into the vast wilderness where elephants roam. There is a depth to an elephant's presence that feels ancient and wise. Elephants are gentle giants, not just physically large, but emotionally vast. Their movements are slow and careful, their interactions deeply emotional. An elephant doesn't just walk, it sways. It moves with purpose, with grace, with an inner stillness that is as moving as it is majestic. When an elephant mourns, it does so in silence, with rituals that show a remarkable understanding of life and death. They caress the bones of their deceased with their trunks and stand in mourning for hours. There is sadness, yes, but also a solemn peace, a respect for the natural cycle. Watching elephants in the wild, their quiet companionship, their patient parenting, you feel this overwhelming wave of humility. It's as if they know something we've forgotten, that life is not about rushing forward, but about walking together gently. The giant panda is another bearer of tranquility in the animal kingdom. Watching a panda munch bamboo in the forests of China, with no urgency, just chewing away, one can't help but feel a little lighter. They lounge, they roll, they nap, they eat, and they do it all with a kind of innocence that feels lost to us. A panda doesn't seek attention. It lives its life quietly, playfully, and with the kind of contentment that seems so elusive to us humans. There's something profoundly comforting in watching a creature so soft, so roly-poly, so completely immersed in the simple joys of food and rest. They look like walking plush toys, and maybe that's part of the appeal. But deeper than their looks is their attitude. There's no competition in a panda's world, no race, no envy, just a calm, slow savoring of life. Now, let's take a quiet walk through a bamboo forest and stumble upon the red panda, a cousin of the giant panda, but smaller and perhaps even more relaxed. Perched in the crook of a tree branch with its tail wrapped around itself, the red panda often spends hours resting, snoozing, grooming itself with meticulous care. It doesn't bother with the frenzy of the world below. It's elusive, shy, and deeply introverted. But in that solitude, it finds peace. In a world that constantly tells us to be loud to be seen, the red panda whispers, "Find comfort in your own company." Let's glide into the waters where manatees dwell, the gentle sea cows as they are affectionately called. There are few animals that embody peacefulness like the manatee, slow, moving, lumbering gently through rivers and coastal seas. They seem to carry the tranquility of the water itself. Watching them feels like a lullaby for the soul. Manatees are creatures that don't startle, they don't attack, they don't flee unless absolutely necessary. They just glide, graze, and float. There's an unspoken wisdom in their stillness, in the way they seem to say, it's okay to slow down, to take up space gently, to move through the world without causing harm. And then there's the koala, nestled in eucalyptus trees, sleeping for nearly 20 hours a day. It lives a life of quiet simplicity, waking only to eat and return to slumber. The koala's existence is so intertwined with rest that it feels almost sacred. Watching a koala cling to a branch, eyes closed, completely trusting the world not to harm it, it evokes a kind of aching tenderness. That level of vulnerability, that surrender to peace, is something we rarely allow ourselves, and yet the koala thrives in it. Even in the coldest corners of the earth, we find serenity. The emperor penguin, with its patient parenting and communal warmth, brings calm to the frozen wilderness. Standing silently in massive huddles, these birds endure unimaginable conditions with quiet strength. There is no panic, just endurance, just presence. In the way, they take turns protecting each other from the wind. In the way, they hold their eggs on their feet for months. There's a beautiful stillness in their devotion. Let's not forget the deer. Often symbols of gentleness, deer move with such caution and grace that even their stillness feels like poetry. A deer standing in a misty forest, ears twitching, eyes wide but soft, it's a vision that stays with you. They move without sound, live without confrontation, and embody a kind of elegance that speaks directly to the soul. They seem to tiptoe through life, teaching us that it's okay to be soft in a world that often demands hardness. Or the tortoise, with its weathered shell and ageless eyes, moving inch by inch across sunlit terrain. The tortoise has nowhere to be fast. It doesn't measure life in moments or deadlines. It simply moves, eats, basks, and rests. Slowly, deliberately, a tortoise might outlive us all, not because it rushes through life, but because it doesn't. Its every movement is an affirmation of patience, and perhaps one of the most emotionally grounding animals of all is the whale, especially the humpback or the blue whale, massive beings that sing songs through the ocean, songs that travel for miles. There is something deeply humbling about a whale. To witness it breach the surface of the sea is to see power and grace coexisting. But it's not just about their size or majesty. It's the calm with which they exist, the slow, rhythmic rise and fall of their breath as they surface, the haunting beauty of their underwater calls. They are the keepers of the deep, moving with tides and time, never in haste. Their voices reach across oceans not to shout, but to share presence, to connect, to soothe. We, as humans, so often chase peace. We search for it in apps, in books, in vacations, in philosophies. But peace is not always something to chase. Sometimes it's something to notice. In the flutter of a butterfly, in the still gaze of a heron, in the quiet blink of a cat under a patch of sun. Wildlife gives us a mirror, not the one we use to fix our appearance, but the one that shows us our spirit. And in that mirror, when we truly look, we see that peace has always been there, living, breathing, existing softly in the heartbeats of the most relaxing animals on this earth. They don't chase calm. They are calm, and in their presence we remember how to be.